You've got your exquisite eye for fashion.
Oh,
So
you're kind.
we want to know how you got your start.
Well, originally, I'm going to take you back to my childhood. I was a big Lego guy. I couldn't get enough Lego, and I'm old enough to go back to the days when Lego was not a prescription for the box told you to build this. They were just anonymous
Right.
blocks in a box, and I loved them. And it made me keenly interested in architecture, and I actually studied architecture for one semester only, and absolutely, totally hated it. And this was in the early 1970s. No computers. You had to pull a line with a stylus and ink, and it would bleed.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to be doing plumbing specs and electrical specs for gas stations for the rest of my life. So I left that and ended up studying literature, and then went back to school after my first undergraduate degree to get a second undergraduate degree in fine arts. And I was a sculptor, and my interest in architecture came out in that work. And then I began teaching three-dimensional design, and I taught for 29 years. And it's the whole, my serendipitous path in life is very surreal for me. And I tell young people about it all the time: make no assumptions about where life's going to take you. So I've always been a design guy and someone who is very visual and aesthetically inclined, and I think it's just part of my DNA.
That's amazing. So you've had a chance to cover all aspects of design in your education and your career. You've kind of done it all. That's really interesting.
And I have to add, when I was teaching three-dimensional design, usually to freshmen, these were students who hadn't declared a major yet. So I was working with students who would go into, well, in the case of Parsons, where I taught for 24 years, they were going into architecture or product design or graphic design or illustration or fashion, fine arts, interiors. And it was wonderful to have that kind of incubator with so many different interests.
That's awesome. Do you have a special type of style or look that you generally gravitate towards, or any time period that you're fond of as far as design goes with interiors?
With interiors, I'm very much a classicist. I say that as opposed to a traditionalist.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, I like mixing things up. So I really love today. I love the here and now, because we can pull from history. We don't have to be literal to a particular period of time. And I like that mixing up, and I like personalizing it. I tend to not respond well to formulas. Unless you're doing a period room at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, that's something completely different. But I also find that to be completely constraining. It means that so many creative possibilities aren't available to you. But if I weren't in fashion, I'd be in interiors. I'm a big lifestyle guy.
Good. We love that. I've always had a soft spot for fashion as well as interiors. I just decided to go the interior route.
But they do go together, don't you think?
Yes.
It really is
they're
lifestyle.
I gain a lot of inspiration for interiors through fashion. I've always loved fashion. Another question we're going to ask you, if you could give our readers any advice on how to kind of create a more polished look to their interior spaces.
Well, I'm a big Shelter magazine junkie. And even though I love my apartment and I'm very proud of, well, I shouldn't say proud. I like how it looks and I feel comfortable at home. I realize it's not everyone's taste by any means. I'm constantly pouring through Shelter magazines because I get inspired. And in some cases, I see images that underscore what I'm doing and I think, okay, I'm on the right track. In other cases, I think maybe I should be a little more daring. Maybe I should try this. But I think it's important to find a style, pull images that you respond to. It's similar to how I tell people to operate with fashion. Find a fashion mentor. Find someone who has a similar body type and coloring and see how they dress and present themselves to the world. With interiors, it's important to find an environment that's, at least in terms of size, space, dimensions, similar to your own. If you're living in a tiny studio in New York, don't look at Versailles. Look at something that's a little more accessible and relatable.
that is great advice. That is definitely something that I try to tell people as well, to get inspired first and go through some magazines, get some ideas,
Yes.
stuff together, and start developing your own sense of taste. And
Because
style.
Nathan, don't you think just viscerally, I mean, if you're going through a shelter magazine, just viscerally, you're either going to respond or not. And I think it's so important for us to bring some critical analysis to that kind of judgment and ask ourselves why. What is it that I'm responding to?
I believe definitely I concur 100% with you. Last question I have, so I'm not taking up too much of your time. I know you're
Well,
quite
I have
busy.
I have some things to talk to you about too.
Well, my last question that I have for you is, what is your material of choice, whether it be any type of could be a building material or a fabric or anything that pertains to the design world? Like mine is, I love anything that has sparkle or bling to it, whether it be mirrors or sequins or beading or anything kind of flashy that'll catch your eye.
I really love a neutral base, and I love building off of that, whether it's interiors or it's fashion. I mean, in a way, how I'm dressed today, I am wearing a neutral suit, in a manner of speaking. It could go almost any direction, but I like having this kind of riotous color with it. And it in many ways helps ground the color. I feel the same way about interiors. My apartment's painted a beautiful neutral ochre color, but then I have various things that stand out because of that neutrality. It really helps balance it all out. But can I talk to you about summer entertaining for a moment?
Absolutely.
Because I am here, I'll be very candid and transparent. I'm here for a coffee that I love, Nespresso. And I'm here because it gives you so many possibilities for summer entertainment that, quite frankly, are disarming. And I love surprising people. I mean, would you imagine, if I invited you for cocktails, would you imagine that I'm going to serve you a Nespresso mojito? I would.
An espresso mojito.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. And
delicious.
And I would drink anything you would serve me.
And if you weren't inclined to want some alcohol, there's a wonderful iced cappuccino. And later in the evening, after we've had some dessert, how about having a tiramisu, wonderful heated beverage with lots of froth in it? It's very disarming.
Fabulous.
And you know, the other thing, it gets rid of that pressure of having to have every kind of drink available for your guests. It's your home, serve them what you want to serve them. And also, when it's easy, and it certainly is, you're a more relaxed host and you have more relaxed and very comfortable guests. And also, since you're a design guy, look at this fabulous machine. How beautiful is this? It's
It
sleek.
is beautiful. I love the
It's sophisticated.
I've been dying to have one of my own, and I'm a big entertainer. So
You are, well, then you need this. And I want you
alley.
to see how simple it is. This is our Grand Cru capsule. I drop it in. I slide the slider. Et voila. It's coming out right now. And it's delicious. And it's so incredibly easy. So I don't believe in complicating entertaining. When we try too hard, either with entertaining or with fashion, we look like a victim. And make it easy, make it be you, and don't try too hard.
I agree completely. I always tend to overdo it when I entertain, and I always ask myself why I did that at the end, because it complicated things. And if I would have kept it more simple, I would have enjoyed my company a little bit
I know,
better.
because you're constantly running around worrying about every little detail, and when things are streamlined and simple, the details present themselves. And also with the Nespresso, your guests can do this themselves. They have all these various options, 16 of them, and at Nespresso.com, you can see all the various recipes that are available with this incredible coffee product. It's fabulous. And I'm going to lift...
I have to go check that out. The Nespresso Mojito definitely sounds something that I would love.
And I'm lifting an espresso to you, Nathan.
All right.
So thank you so
Tim.
much.